What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Not in this lifetime, Sonny.
All right. Friday night already. Hope everybody had a great week. Good to see you guys. Looks like we got Izzy and Mickey, and we got Rosie. We've got Dramus. We got a bunch of you guys already in. Right away, in early. Nice. Very nice. Good to see you guys. All right. Hope everybody had a great week. We've got an enormous amount of news to talk about. I think this one might go long tonight. What are we going to talk about? Let's get to the menu first before I get back to the chat, and we'll just take a quick look at everything we're going to be dealing with tonight. And this is Radio Baloney Live, Friday night. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. All right. I thought we'd start out with something light tonight. We got an enormous amount of Canadian news. We're going to be talking about the election, obviously. But I thought we'd start out with something light. Satanists. So we're going to talk about some Satanists. And we're actually probably going to go on about that for a little while, actually. Because it turns out Satanists are hilarious. Mark Carney appears to me to be an insane idiot, as far as I can tell. Promoted to Canada as this, buttoned down, really smart economist, knows how the world works, he keeps telling us. I don't think he knows how the world works. We're going to get into that. There's a lot on that. We're going to obviously talk about the election. We've got some comment from Canadian commenters. We're going to talk about the Trump tariffs. We're going to go through a fact sheet here from the White House and what the tariffs actually mean, which is not being communicated to the Canadian people for obvious reasons, and we'll get into that. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, okay. We're going to talk about Poilievre, more election stuff, more Canada stuff, and then we're going to get to the U.S. stuff. We've got DOGE. We've got actually something here from Rosie, who commented on this, which we're going to take a look at. A bunch of that. We've got more Tesla terror stuff. These people are just retards. How have they not figured out that there's cameras watching them? There's cameras all over those things. How have they not figured this out? I mean, they're going to throw the book at these people, and they're catching them all because they're all on camera. Weird. It's just insane. It's like this mass psychosis thing. It's crazy. Let's see. We're going to talk about, RFK. RFK. We haven't talked about him for a little while, but there's some interesting stuff here. Actually, just crazy stuff that he's revealing about the Department of Health and Human Services. It's like everything. It's like DOGE is uncovering just this incredible amount of fraud and just incompetence, or what is it? Right? We've got a story here about Elon talking about how there was the U.S. government spent $1 billion on an online survey. $1 billion. He says maybe $10,000 it should cost. $1 billion. And then the information, the data didn't even go anywhere, so it was a complete waste of time in the first place. Crazy! How can people not be making enormous amounts of money from fraud? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't cost $1 billion to do an online survey. I could do one for free, and probably take me a couple of hours to figure out how to do it. We've got some woke mind virus stuff. These people are nuts. The crazy eyes, just crazy. Here's Charlie Kirk talking to one of these nut bars. Really, the only thing that makes sense, it is literally a brain infection, an idea pathogen. We're gonna get some Trump stuff here. Trump filing a lawsuit against everyone in the Russia hoax. That's going to be interesting. So anyway, we're going to talk about that. Then we've just got a bunch of stuff in the final tab of the evening. Baby goats. Thanks, Rosie. Dramus, I saw something from you, but I think we covered it already last week. But we've got some stuff that Rosie sent into the X account, and just random stuff here. How to talk to a feminist. This is a good one. Random, all kinds of things. This is the last bookmark that we do for the evening. We got memes in here. We got all kinds of stuff. Actually, quite a bit tonight. Although some of this we covered last week, which we won't cover again. All right. I forgot to get rid of it. I forgot to clear it out from last time. All right. So there we go, people. And we're going to talk about polling too, Canadian polling. But first off, there we go. I like this boating show. I like boats. It's a good boating show. Jamis is saying you're not live on X. Am I not? Should be. Says that I'm live right now. Yep, we're up. Yep, we're up and live. So I don't know what your problem is. All right, let's get into the chat here. So who got the first like tonight? Because everybody, if you're new to the channel, if anybody's watching right now who's new, the first like gets double good karma. Of course, you get good karma, one single dose of good karma every time you like or when you subscribe to the channel. But the first like of the stream, double good karma. In these troubled times, can you turn your back on that good karma? I don't think you can. So Izzy got the first like. That's double good karma for you. Mickey got the second. You still got some excellent, very useful good karma out of that. Let's see. Rosie says, I am late, I guess. I was a tiny bit late. I'm usually not these days, but I was a couple of minutes late, I think, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. So sorry about that, guys. Rosie says, Satanists, always a dark subject. They're actually hilarious, is the thing. Like, it's so dumb. They're so dumb. And none of them are actual Satanists. They're just atheists who just want to try and irritate Christians. And they're just so dumb. I find it funny. Let's see. Izzy says, listening to Tuesday stream currently. It wouldn't let me watch it the other day. Weird. Missed it on Tuesday. That's strange. Let's see. Rosie says, I would have done that online survey for $500,000. I know, me too. Still would have been enormous profit. About $500,000 profit. Let's see. Jamis got the first one on YouTube. Double good karma for you, my friend. Use it wisely. Although that's the thing. You don't really get to choose how you use it. It just happens. Just something good will happen. Rosie says, hope she has a good brush. Fast boats put knots in long hair. I hadn't even considered that, Rosie. I hadn't even considered that. Hadn't even thought about that. But now you make a great point there. Let's see. Izzy says he knows what his globalist friends want. Are you talking about Carney? Yes. Carney is a globalist, a self-admitted elitist globalist. We've watched that video a million times now. The problem is that in Canada, there's no Fox News, right? So you have conservative newspapers, but the circulations have been shrinking and shrinking, and they don't get that much attention. It's really just, most people are just getting their news from CBC, CTV, Global. They're getting it from the talking heads on TV, and there's no Fox News. There's no conservative TV news, and they're not showing. Mark Carney is their meal ticket. They know that. Pierre Poilievre has threatened to. Well, he said he's going to defund the media. The government will not be funding the media in Canada anymore. They know Carney is their meal ticket, and they don't care if Canada is destroyed. And they're all leftists anyway, right? So they're all liberals. So yeah, they just don't care what happens to Canada, but they want their paychecks. And obviously it's been, when's the last time that the media, anybody felt like the media was objective in any kind of way? It's been a long time, hasn't it? The last time that the media was actually trying to inform the public and not manipulate them. Let's see. Rosie says, explain elbows up, please. Elbows up is this thing in Canada that, fighting spirit, I guess, that the Team Canada thing. So the people who told us, who shamed us, that we're a genocide state and we're not legitimate, we're on stolen land and we're settler colonists and there's white supremacist society, and you have to tell every single immigrant who comes here who's not white, you have to tell them immediately they've been racialized. You've been racialized. Welcome to Canada. You've been racialized. This insidious word, racialized, which is the media has just adopted now. And for years now, I made a video. I think I made a video about that word like 4 years ago or something. But how insidious it is, and it just all of a sudden showed up, and then every journalist was using the word racialized. It's just this thing that happens to anybody who's not white in Canada. They're just immediately racialized. The second an immigrant gets there, you have to inform them they've been racialized. This horrible thing has been done to them, even if they don't notice it. That's just because they've internal de-racialization. I can't remember how I got in that rant, but elbows up, yeah. So it's like elbows up, like, we're ready to fight. Canada's ready to fight. And that's coming from the people who told us we're all evil and the Canada's evil and it's not a legitimate state even, and it's post-national and no core identity. And by the way, you're super racist and phobe and everything bad in the world. Now, Team Canada and elbows up. Yeah, I'm not joining that. I'm not going to be part of the team of the people who told me that I'm a fringe minority and I've got unacceptable views. No, fuck you is what I say. I'm not on that team. That's not my team. They weren't on my team. They've never been on my team. So no, it's just a bunch of fake bullshit. And I think it's affecting the polls right now, because I think that lowest common denominator people, and that's who that appeals to, who aren't going to vote, who've never voted, they have no intention of voting, but it's something stupid and mindless that they can get behind that takes no effort whatsoever, and they can still watch their Netflix, right, and their American-produced shows and listen to their American music, and they can go still, they can still plan their trip to Vegas or whatever, but they can go elbows up and Team Canada. I think that there's an overrepresentation in the polling right now. I think there's a weighting towards this. A bunch of people who are not going to vote, and it's probably already lost their attention already. Team Canada. Yeah, but you said we're all racists and settler colonist genociders and stuff. Are you sure? Are you sure that's even a team that you want to be on? Team genocide. That's what they should have said, because that's what they've been telling us for the last decade. Elbows up, team genocide. See, I never thought we were team genocide. I think that's fucking retarded and ridiculous. But apparently they're really into it. They think that Canada's this infinite genocide state. It really is depressing when you see people Like they've been telling us for a decade that we're not even a legitimate country. And then just they ring the bell and they all drool, Team Canada, elbows up. Yeah, I'm not on your team. I'm not on your team. Rosie says, thanks for explaining. Glad it's not like a Nazi salute with one hand up. No, it's even stupider. Let's see. All right, streamer, how you doing? Good to see ya. Much joy. How are ya? All right. So, shall we get to it? Again, I wanted to start out with something. We've been doing this, we're doing a ton of Canadian politics right now because obviously, Canada, the election, this is a big deal. But I think that we've been having lower amounts of people watching because of that, because I think I'm losing, anybody watching anywhere else in the world, I think is getting sick of too much Canadian election news. So I thought we'd start out with something a little bit different. Hey, Candle Monkey, how you doing? All right. So something lighter, like Satanists. Satanists. Let's see. From the Daily Wire here, Satanist arrested after punching protester at Black Mass in Kansas State House. So the two least surprising words in the English language to go together, Satanist arrested. Satanist arrested. They just go together, right? Those two words, they just go together. Let's see. He said, Hail Satan, I dedicate this building to Satan. To Satan. He dedicated the building to Satan, and there he is, looking very sane and normal. Now, the thing you got to understand about these Satanists is that they're not actually Satanists. They're all just atheists, and they just do this. It's almost like a fetish that they have to they're just driven to try and irritate Christians. They're obsessed with it. It's weird. It just seems like a kind of I don't know, just tragic waste of potential. Let's just say that. Could have done anything he wanted with his life, but he became a deranged fake Satanist to irritate people he doesn't know. That's it. Seems kind of dumb to me. Let's see. The leader of the Satanic Grotto, was led away in handcuffs at the Kansas State House Friday. The leader of the Satanic Grotto was led away in handcuffs at the Kansas State House Friday morning after he scuffled with a protester who objected to his Black Mass ceremony there. So somebody didn't like the Satanism going on there. And he's not happy. He's right there. He's screaming, Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Satan isn't helping him, apparently. Just before his arrest, Stewart appeared to repeatedly punch a protester who came up to him and tried to grab something out of his hand that he was holding above his head as he called out to, can you guess who he called out to? As he called out to Satan. It's just so ridiculous. He told officers he was not resisting arrest as he was handcuffed. He said, Hail Satan, I dedicate this building to Satan. Onlookers could be heard praying Hail Mary as Stewart was led away. The Satanic Grotto previously said Friday's Black Mass event would dedicate the grounds and our legislature to the glory of Satan. To the glory of Satan. They're just doing this to irritate Christians, to offend Christians. Let's see. God will fall and Kansas will be embraced by the black flame of Lucifer. I would say that's not a very optimistic message from him. I don't know how many people that's really going to appeal to. I don't know. I feel like it's it's bad marketing. It's bad marketing. Kansas will be embraced by the black flame of Lucifer. It's not very aspirational. It's not very optimistic. Again, I think it's just bad marketing from the Satanists. Let's see. A black mass is an explicit parody of the Catholic mass that may use consecrated hosts, which Catholics believe to be the physical body, soul, and divinity of Christ. He says, we have wafers, Stewart said previously. I don't want to comment on whether they're consecrated or not because that would ruin the mystery. So there is something interesting about this. And where is it? Hold on a second. Okay. So Kansas Archbishop alleges satanic group stole sacred wine and wafers for upcoming State House Black Mass. So it seems like the Satanist there, Michael Stewart, the Satanist, really, he should have a better name, shouldn't he? If you're going to be a Satanist, you need something else, like Black Diamond or something. I don't know. But it's not really. We've got, I've also got the website for the Satanic Grotto, so we'll go through that. It's actually quite funny. Let's see. Let's see. Michael Stewart. Was that his name? Yeah, Michael Stewart. It's not a very satanic name. Michael Stewart. Mike Stewart. He needs to work on it. He needs to come up with something better. But let's see. Apparently, a bishop claims a group of Satanists stole sacred wafers and wine to use in Black Mass. They're holding a Black Mass they're holding at the state capitol, but the unholy hellraisers claim their body of blood in Christ merely came from Pope Amazon. So they saying they ordered it from Amazon. But, stealing is that's a pretty satanic thing to do. I mean, that's a Satan-y thing to do, right? I think Satan would approve of that. So anyway, that's the same guy. So just causing trouble. But let's, I want to show you something here. Here is the Satanic Grotto website. So here it's Hail Satan on there. And that actually is pretty spooky. I think they did a good job on this. I feel like they maybe spent some money on this. They got a Satanist graphic designer or something. It's actually pretty spooky. That would be good for like a horror movie or something. Let's see, how to help. So if you want to help the Satanists, you can help them. They are accepting help. Let's see, pretty spooky stuff. Let's see, this must be terrifying here. The Satanic Grotto is a non-profit corporation registered with this. You can't even read that scary. The Satanic Grotto is a non-profit corporation registered with the state of Kansas. It just doesn't work. It's not scary. Let's see. Can you guys read that? Is that too small? Make it bigger. All donations go to the Satanic Grotto's general fund, giving us the ability to implement projects, activism, and charities in our local community. What? I'm telling you what, I guarantee you, Satan is really disappointed in these guys. Probably got all excited. Ooh, a new Satanist group. They must be really terrifying and evil. They don't even seem that evil. They just seem kind of dumb, just kind of stupid. All right, let's get into some more of this. Let's see, let's find out about these guys. All right, welcome to the Grotto. Disclaimer. We are not affiliated with or endorsed or supported by any other satanic organization. You can't make this up. We're not affiliated with or endorsed or supported by any other satanic organization. We are an independent and non-denominational satanic church that utilizes philosophies from many walks of life, from many walks of the left-hand path. We are feminist, LGBTQ allies, and anti-racist, Nazi Satanists. Fuck off. I'm telling you, Satan's really disappointed with these guys. They're not pulling their weight at all. Nazi Satanists can fuck off. These don't feel like real Satanists to me. I don't think that they've really embraced the whole Satan thing. Let's see. Of course they're woke, by the way. Of course they're woke. If the Satanists are going to be anything, they're going to be woke. We are feminists, those feminist Satanists, the LGBTQ Satanists, the anti-racist Satanists. Like, you can't, like, try and do it in the scary voice, the scary Satanist voice, but it doesn't work. We are feminist, LGBTQ allies, and anti-racist Nazi Satanists. It just doesn't work. If they were real Satanists, they'd accept those Nazis. Of course, you've got the Satanic Grotto mission statement. The Satanists have a mission statement. We are dedicated to improving our community through fellowship, religious expression, shared education, artistic projects, and social activism. Fucking woke Satanists. They're giving Satanists a bad name. They've got some goals, the Satanic Grotto goals. Provide a safe community of mutual support for our members and allies. Satan's super disappointed with this. I don't think Satan approves of this one bit. He's like, ooh, Satanic Grotto, this is great. Okay, let's take a look. What evil things are they going to do? They're going to be a force for political, social, and pluralistic. What? What? Provide a safe community? Hold on a second. They're not worshiping me. They're worshiping the wrong people. They're worshiping the wrong whatever. They're worshiping the wrong demon. They seem to be quite confused. I mean, haven't they thought about it? Haven't they thought about it? How embarrassing it would be if they knew Satan had read this? Promote personal development. What? What? Support satanic art, music, and culture in our communities? What? Let's see. We will strive to be polite until it's time to be rude. Oh, this is hilarious. The Satanists, now be warned, everybody. Be warned. The Satanists, they're going to strive to be polite until it's time to be rude. And then you've got what for coming to you. We're Satanists. Don't mess with us. Let's see. How about this one here? This one's certain to disappoint Satan. Consent is the measure of the law. Ask permission before crossing boundaries or taking what is not yours. So that's it. Leftism, wokeism has ruined Satanism. Just like everything else. They get in, they take over what it was supposed to be, whatever institution it was supposed to be about, whether it's American Medical Association, or the Ontario College of Psychologists, or the Satanic Grotto. It's no longer about the original mission. Now it's about spreading wokeness. I mean, it's actually kind of sad in a way, isn't it? I actually find it kind of sad what's happened, like how low the Satanists have fallen. It's quite pathetic. We strive to recognize that we are all fallible and we will make mistakes. When we do, we should try our best to resolve any harm caused and learn from those mistakes. That's not satanic. That's not satanic at all. What Satanist books have these people been reading? They've been taken over by wokeness. Wokeness has ruined Satanism. I mean, look at this. Satanist flip-flops. They're selling satanic flip-flops for $42.50, by the way. What's a summer without comfy open-toed shoes? You can't make this up. You can't. Satanist flip-flops, people. Satanist flip-flops. I don't know what I can say. Now, be careful. When you order your satanic flip-flops, your grotto slides, now keep in mind that the shoes will have a glue-like smell when opening the box. But don't worry, Satanists. The smell will disappear a few days after the shoes are unpacked. So, in case any Satanists were worried about that glue smell with the brand new satanic flip-flops that they bought because they're evil, right? You can't look evil wearing flip-flops. I don't care if you got the pentagram thing on there. You just can't. It's too casual. You've got to be kind of at least somewhat formally dressed, I think, to be a proper, scary Satanist. Rosie says, so woke capitalist Satanists. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. It's just, again, it's just such a shame what's happened to these Satanists, how low they've fallen. And it's wokeness. It's wokeness that did it to them. Again, Satan would be extremely disappointed with this. You know, he'd look at it and he'd be like, oh, there must be some human sacrifice or something. What? Flip-flops? These are not my people. Again, just satanic flip-flops. There's also a satanic water bottle too. So if you want satanic water, you can also get that on the Satanic Grotto merch shop. Anyway, the point of this is that these are just annoying atheists that are just being weird, being cringe, trying to offend Christians. And that's what they live for. And it's like it really is. And they're really into it too. But it's really just like some tragically self-defeating prank. I think that's probably the best way that I can describe what it is. And again, I don't feel like they're thriving under it, right? Under their satanic mission. He doesn't look like he's thriving to me. So anyway, what are you guys saying about it? Satanic flip-flops, people. All right, we're going to go to the chat quick. We're already a half an hour into the show. Jeez. Crazy town. Let's see. Just so people know, when people say pure blood, they mean no vaccine. No vaccine. Because it could mean something else, but that's not what it means. It's kind of an unfortunate phrase, really, because it's kind of easy to misunderstand that. Let's see. Rosie says, Richie, you know, there really are Satan worshipers, right? Well, I'm sure there are. It's not these guys. And they make it pretty obvious that they don't actually believe it. They're just there to irritate Christians or just like any sane person. Rosie says, definitely bad marketing. Always better to be on the side of the one true God. You know what the thing is with the Satanism thing is that even if you're an atheist, it's like, do you really want to go there just in case? You know, like Pascal's wager, all that. Do you really want to go there? You know, just in case. It's like Ouija boards. I'll never use a Ouija board. You know, I'll never use a Ouija board. I've never used one before, and I'll never use one. And, you know, I'm not a religious man myself. I would say I'm agnostic, you know, but I'm not going to use one just in case, you know, just in case. I've said before many times, you know, I've said before many times, you know, I don't believe in ghosts, but obviously I'm still afraid of them because who wouldn't be? Just in case. See, Much Joy saying, what I find hilarious about the Satanists, they spend so much time on saying God is not real. I know. If not real, why spend so much time trying to convince yourselves? Well, they just hate, they have this irrational hatred of Christians. Only Christians, by the way, nobody else. And it's it's like a kind of a natural offshoot of leftism, where it's just, you just deconstruct everything and you just hate everything. So it's actually kind of a natural place for them to go. Rosie says, in our area, no animals with all black fur are allowed to be adopted from the shelter during the month of October. Okay, no, people wouldn't do horrible things. That's actually horrifying. Like, is it like Satanists would do horrible things? Rosie says, cemeteries in this area have had all the ashes stolen over a long time. They are not sure when it started. At least 12 years still happen. Jesus, there are some awful people out there. Candle Monkey says, Satan Light. They are kind of Satan light, aren't they? They're woke Satanists. Although that does make sense, right? Satan definitely would be woke. So I guess maybe it all does make sense. Let's see. Rosie says, how come I can see Much Joy on the screen but not in chat? Because he's on YouTube. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, ooh, Satan shoes. I mean, we have to go back to that for a second. I mean, I laughed so hard when I saw this because it's just so absurd. It's like Monty Python or something. Satanic flip-flops. I mean, Radio Streamer says, this is hilarious. It is actually really funny. Canada Monkey says, they should have ended the page with franchises available. That would be good. Hey, G Flood, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Rosie says, I have read that real Satanists wear red shoes, closed-toed. See, a real Satanist wouldn't join them because they just think that they were super lame, right? What do you mean Nazis aren't allowed in? We're Satanists, for God's sakes. We'll take worse than that. The whole point is to be evil. The Satanists would say. Not me, obviously. Let's see. Let's see. Rumbum says Satan's Fag Brigade. Well, there does seem to be a oh, that probably just got me demonetized on YouTube. And maybe the just reading your tweet there. Your chat there. But anyway, yeah, they seem to be very into that for some reason. Or they just say they do because they think it's gonna infuriate Christians or something. Let's see. G Flood says a religion of selfishness. Yes. Well, they're leftists, clearly, right? Let's see. Much Joy says that rant was hilarious. It was a good one. It was a sweet one. Sweet rant. A story time with Uncle Kumaran says TDS has no cure. Let's see. Izzy says, well, $40 flip-flops are pretty evil. They are. G Flet says Satanists are bad Christian fan fiction. Yeah. It's just, you know what it is? It's just retarded. It's just a waste of human potential of people who don't actually believe in anything. They don't actually believe in Satan, right? They just have dedicated their lives for some reason to being mean-spirited and cringe towards Christians. G Flood says a real Satanist would use the satanic church for profit. Well, they are. I just wonder how many satanic flip-flops they're really selling. Probably, I'm guessing it's not actually that many, to be honest. All right, let's move on. And maybe we'll get rid of a couple of these. I kind of want to keep the satanic flip-flops, though, to just keep referring to them perhaps over the course of the show. All right. So, this tariff war thing. So this election, the tariff thing, it's all just getting really, really retarded, and everything changes so quickly. It's hard to keep up. Mark Carney, I think, is a lunatic idiot at this point, and he's not even making sense. From Rebel News, Carney says the old relationship with the U.S. based on integrated economies and tight security and military cooperation is over. The Prime Minister adds, that's why I chose to go to France and the United Kingdom, two longstanding and reliable partners, friends and allies of Canada. Yes, choosing France and the UK over the US, deciding that we're going to only trade with France and the UK now. That's not retarded. Okay, so anyway, the old relationship with the U.S. based on integrated economies and tight security and military cooperation is over, he says. It's over. Huh. One second. Oh, God damn it. Where do I keep everything? Oh, hold on. All right. So the old relationship is over, he says. Over. Donald J. Trump tweeted this out shortly afterwards. I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. So Donald Trump tweeted this out. So Donald Trump truthed this the next day. I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada. It was an extremely productive call. We agree on many things, and we'll be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election to work on the elements of politics, business, and all other factors that will end up being great for both the United States of America and Canada. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it starts with our relationship is over. It starts with tough talk, really tough talk. And then immediately, oh, we had a great conversation. And I don't know, did Mark Carney just immediately bend the knee? Sounds kind of like he just immediately bended the knee. It sounds like Mark Carney is saying things in public that he's not saying in private, that he's not saying to Donald Trump. Here is something posted by Mark Carney. This morning how does Mark Carney talk again? This, one could say morning, I, spoke, you get the point. Today, the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, spoke with the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. The Prime Minister and President had a very constructive conversation about the relationship between our two countries. The leaders agreed to begin comprehensive negotiations about a new economic and security relationship immediately following the election. But Mark Carney, just the night before, said our economic and security relationship was over. That was gone. Let's go back and watch and see what he actually said. Like, it's just becoming parody. The Canadian election has just become parody at this point. It's become a farce.
Our biggest challenge as a country is becoming the most urgent. Over the coming weeks, months, and years, we must fundamentally reimagine our economy. We will need to ensure
by reimagine, he means cricket farms.
That Canada can succeed in a drastically different world. The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over. What exactly the United States does next is unclear.
That's such an insanely idiotic thing to say. Like, is it really over? So, but like, still, like, we are relying on them to like protect us so nobody like invades, right? Like, that's obviously not true. It's, like up to like 80% of our trade. We're right next to the largest economy in the world. Where's everybody else? Let's see. There's an ocean on one side and an ocean on the other, right? We're not going to take that 80% and send it to the EU, who doesn't want our cars. They only want our energy. That's it. Does China want our cars? No, they don't want our cars. They'll take our coal. I mean, they just put 100% tariffs on our agricultural products. There's that. And put giant tariffs on our seafood as well, which the media isn't, for some reason, curiously incurious about. Not really interested in it at all for some reason. So this was an idiotic thing to say, and a dangerous thing to say, actually. Obviously, it's had no impact. It means nothing. It was not taken seriously by Trump. Clearly. He spoke with Trump. There's two things I think that happened. Obviously, Mark Carney didn't mean anything that he said here, right? And immediately capitulated on a bunch of stuff. But also, he probably explained to Trudeau the disastrous plans, the economy-ruining plans that he has for Canada, which will have pleased Donald Trump immensely. So let me show you something quickly here. Where do I have it? Is this it? Okay. Below is a list of foreign capital investments in the United States since Donald Trump assumed office on January 20th, 2025, based on available data up to March 27th, 2025. So I did this yesterday, and I haven't updated it, but we don't need to. You get the point. So Trump is he's very vocally invited every company to move their headquarters, to move their manufacturing to the United States. Every company in every country around the world. He said, "I'll roll out the red carpet for you. Low taxes. We'll deal with regulations. We'll cut through the regulatory red tape for you. Come to the United States. No tariffs." He's trying to obviously rebuild that hollowed out industrial base of the United States that's been hollowed out by globalization. And it's working. And the United States economy is going to be roaring, absolutely roaring, probably within like a year because of what he's doing. This was a big reason for the tariffs. He wants countries to bring their investments to the United States. So let's take a look at some of this. United Arab Emirates. I'm not going to do this one because this one isn't actually confirmed yet. Asahi Group Holdings, Japan, 35 million. That's a small one. This group from Spain, 110 million. ABB from Switzerland, 120 million. CMA CGM France, 20 billion. That's a shipping giant. LG South Korea, they're not saying how much. Samsung also making investment, but they don't know how much. I imagine it would be quite large. Stellantis, 5 billion. 5 billion. A U.S. manufacturing network, including reopening an assembly plant in Illinois and new production in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. This is what I'm saying. He's trying to rebuild the industrial plant in the United States. This is what's happening. There's 5 billion there. Nissan, Japan. Honda, Japan. So car companies moving manufacturing to the United States. Hyundai, investment, 20 billion. 20 billion. SoftBank, Japan, 100 billion. Nippon Steel, Japan, 14.1 billion. 14.1 billion. Initially planned a 15 billion bid for U.S. Steel, but shifted to a 14.1 billion investment in domestic production after canceling the acquisition following discussions with Trump. Trump said, "No, you're not doing that, but you can still come here, but you're going to have to do something else." So steel is a very interesting one because this is one of the industries that Mark Carney has promised the public that he's going to put carbon taxes on. He's going to increase carbon taxes on. He says that's the only way Canadian steel will be competitive, by making it more expensive. It doesn't make any sense. It's all, net zero fantasies. Clearly, we're not going to get a big investment like this in Canada for obvious reasons. Saudi Arabia, 600 billion. 600 billion. Damac Properties, 20 billion. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, 100 billion. So what Trump is doing is working, right? And these are just like really big ones, right? And it's only just since Trump got in office. That's just since Trump was inaugurated. So Trump knows that Mark Carney's globalist plans are going to be poison for Canadian industry, Canadian business. And he will be waiting there with open arms, waiting to welcome in whatever Canadian business wants to head south. So, of course, he'd like Carney. Like, Carney's going to do what he wants. This guy is going to do exactly what Trump wants. He is going to send Canadian business south. They're going to leave the country. So, of course, Trump likes him. Of course, Trump talks well about him. Why wouldn't he? It's exactly what Trump wants. And it's not like it's hidden. Like, it's pretty obvious as well. From Ezra Levant, Mark Carney says our military and economic relationship with the U.S. is over. He says that never having spoke to Trump. It doesn't matter. I mean, it shows just how impotent this guy is, right? The next day, oh, we had a great conversation. And yeah, we're going to do all the things that I said were over. Because I'm strong, because elbows up. Yeah, it sounds like elbows down to me. It's actually embarrassing, to be honest. It's embarrassing that anybody would consider voting for this idiot. Of course Trump's going to like him. He's going to send all of our business down to the States. They're going to flee from him to a country where they can actually do business without being constantly harassed and demonized. He's the one who said, we're going to tax the big polluters to pay for all of the votes that I'm going to buy. I mean, I'm paraphrasing that. It's all just total madness in my mind. Total madness. Let's see. Let's go to Pierre for a second. Where's Pierre? Or actually, hold on. Let's go to, let's see. No, not that. Let's see. So here's Pierre Poilievre. And it's saying here that he murdered Mark Carney on live television, calling him weak and unfit to deal with a heavyweight like Donald Trump. Do you think conservatives are conservative are the right choice for Canadians? You know, a lot of this I just have to disregard. All of the tariff stuff and the Trump stuff I have to disregard. I just have to ask, what's behind it? Because that's what really matters. What's behind the rhetoric, right? Like, what are the actual policies going to be? Because if the policies are Canada's going to continue to be a post-national country, and we're really more concerned with the rest of the world, and we're going to be net zero and cricket farms and windmills, and if we're going to be that, okay, well, that's really bad because we'll become a third world country, right? If we do what Mark Carney wants us to do, we'll become a third world country. If we do what Pierre Poilievre wants to do, which is utilizing our oil and gas, our energy, coal as well, doing some diversification, which is important, but let's not kid ourselves. We're right next to the biggest economy in the world. It's 75 to 80% of our exports go to the United States. To be honest, aside from what the tariff stuff that's happening right now, right, it's a dream situation. I mean, the tariff stuff we are going to get over, but the idea that we're going to all of a sudden transition from trading with the U.S. to trade with Finland, I mean, this just isn't real. These are fantasies, right? But the way that we can have a strong country is just simply to just think about Canadians, right? That's the route to take. Take a page from Trump and say, well, he's just looking out for his own people, for Americans, right? You don't have to do everything like Trump does it, but the core thing is, okay, I'm not going to be concerned with the WEF and the UN and the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. I'm going to be just concerned with Canadians. And how do you do that? Well, you get a roaring economy happening. You make it really business friendly. You make the country fertile ground for business. Make it very business friendly. That's how you get the economy going. Otherwise, you're not going to be exporting to anybody anyway, right? If you don't build pipelines, for instance, and ports for LNG, I mean, you're not sending it to anybody anyway. But let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say. And this has got all the, apparently just required rhetoric in Canadian politics now.
I want to return to what Danielle Smith said to Breitbart News. She said tariff threats have helped the Liberals and that she asked for a pause on the dispute between the two countries to get through the election. She also said that you are more aligned with President Trump's agenda than your Liberal counterparts. I'm wondering if you feel these comments are appropriate.
Are which?
Appropriate.
Well, people are free to make their own comments. I speak for myself, and let's talk about my agenda. My agenda is to put Canada first for a change. There's a reason why Donald Trump wants the weak, out-of-touch Liberals in power. They've handed him control of our economy. Trudeau and Carney raised taxes on work, investment, and small business, driving $500 billion out of our economy to the U.S. They blocked pipelines, mines, LNG plants, forcing our energy companies to sell 100%, almost 100% of their product to the Americans at discount prices. They have buried us in bureaucracy. And Donald Trump knows that a weak, out-of-touch Liberal government, given a fourth mandate, will only make Canada a bigger target for him. What we need, and that's why the choice in this election is whether we're going to elect weak, out-of-touch Liberals to a fourth mandate, or whether it is time to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash our resources, bring home our jobs so that we can confront Donald Trump and the Americans from a position of strength.
So, position of strength should just be the default for any leader, like striving to occupy a position of strength as much as you can should be the default for any leader, right? And that comes down to caring about your own country more than you care about Klaus Schwab or the UN, right? Trump is only concerned with the U.S. economy. And that's good. Every leader should do that, right? It doesn't mean that we're all in the same situation. That doesn't mean that leaders have to emulate Trump or try to be Trump or use the same tactics. A country like Canada doesn't have the same leverage. It just means that doing the best job possible for your own people and being reasonable and ignoring globalist concerns and creating fertile ground for businesses in your own country. And as well as, preserving really important things like preserving individual rights, regardless of what Klaus or the UN thinks about it, or people like Carney. I mean, Carney is the ultimate globalist. It's the thing. Like he's incapable of considering Canada first. He's a globalist, an admitted globalist. That means he's more concerned with the globe, and more specifically with his globalist friends, with that, elite, what's the word for them? With the elite cabal that he hangs out with, when he goes to places like Davos. So really it comes down to do the best thing for your own country. Do the best thing for Canada, right? And that means, again, we don't have the leverage that the United States has. That doesn't mean that we can do nothing, right? It means you have to be smart. With the United States is going to have a roaring economy with all of the capital investment pouring into the country. That's an opportunity for Canada. That's not something to turn away from, right? Poilievre is using the same rhetoric, the same pointless, stupid rhetoric, because it's totally about Trump, because it's all just impotent talk. But at least the plan behind it makes sense. That can only benefit Canada and the Canadian economy, right? And prepare us for, once we get the tariff stuff out of the way. Okay, and I've got some interesting news on the auto tariffs, by the way, that the media is not going to tell you about. But there's an enormous opportunity brewing for Canada to take advantage of the booming economy that the United States is going to have. Remember, it was booming in Trump's first term until COVID came along. Well, it's going to happen. It's going to be in turbo drive this time around. We should be preparing for that. Maybe we have to take a loss on a couple of things, but new opportunities are going to open up. That's smart, right? That's actually, apparently the economic genius, Carney, hasn't thought of this, but that's obviously what's going to happen, and that's the obvious opportunity. And with Pierre's plan and Pierre's policies, we will actually be ready for that. Again, the tariff stuff is going to get dealt with. And on the tariff issue, so it's 25% tariffs. That's not just on Canada. That's the whole world. That's just any other country. All right. But Canada does have a kind of special place still. Obviously, we're integrated with the United States more than, Poland is, for instance. We have the USMCA trade agreement, right? Here's what it actually says. This is from the White House, okay? President Donald J. Trump adjusts imports of automobiles and automobile parts into the United States. March 26, 2025. Okay, so what we're being told is that there's just 25% tariffs on cars. So if it's a $10,000 car, it's $2,500 in tariffs. Or if it's a $100,000 car, it's $25,000 in tariffs. No, it's not. Importers of automobiles under the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement will be given the opportunity to certify their U.S. content and systems. Let me start over. Importers of automobiles under the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement will be given the opportunity to certify their U.S. content, and systems will be implemented such as the 25% tariff will only apply to the value of their non-U.S. content. This is really important. USMCA compliant automobile parts will remain tariff-free until the Secretary of Commerce, in consultation with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, establishes a process to apply tariffs to their non-U.S. content. Okay, so what this means is that these tariffs only for cars being exported out of Canada, the tariff, the 25%, only applies to non-U.S. parts of those cars. It's not just the cost of the car. It's non-U.S. parts, and there are USMCA compliant parts that are exempt from that. So what does that actually mean? By the way, I haven't seen a single article in Canada explaining any of this. For some reason, I have to do it. If Canadian content is exempt alongside U.S. content, more aligned with the USMCA intent, only the non-North American portion, so parts from like at China, for instance, only the non-North American portion, 15 to 25%, is taxed, reducing the effective tariff to 3.75 to 6.25%. That's the effective tariff. That's what you'd actually be paying. Not a single, I haven't seen anybody in Canada point this out. I've seen a couple of them, like independent content creators, point out, not in this detail, but just point out, no, this is just on parts. Just think about that. Just think about that. The job is to inform the public. They're not doing it. CBC is not doing it. Do they know this? I don't know. Does anybody there actually do journalism anymore? How about Global, CTV? Anybody actually do journalism? Like, just take literally the 20 minutes it took me to find this out? Does anybody do that? Apparently not. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Is there just some central hub of propaganda, a ministry of truth that just puts out the same content, the same things to read off the teleprompter to every single outlet? Isn't it grotesque? Isn't it grotesque? I guarantee nobody watching this has seen this. I guarantee you that 99% of Canadians, or let's say, okay, let's be generous, 95% of Canadians think that it just means if a car's worth $30,000, if it's good, it'll be, what would that be? $7,500 of tariff on it. No, it won't. No, it won't. But the media is doing, and the politicians, including actually the conservatives, are doing absolutely nothing to disabuse the public of this notion. To me, this is just criminal. Criminal, just tell the people the fucking truth. Why can't they just tell people the damn truth? Isn't it grotesque? I don't have a journalism degree, right? I'm not an economist. It's just not that hard. I mean, hey, you know what I did? I read the statement from the White House. Only a journalist, only an Ivy League graduated journalist could find the White House fact sheet. Is it not? Are you starting to feel like you've been lied to a lot? Are you starting to feel like this whole fucking thing is one big scam? It's just manipulation. It's just manipulation. I know you guys are feeling like that because I've been ranting about it in live streams for a fucking year now. But it's just madness, isn't it? Isn't it madness? How can this be real? How can you have every single journalist, every single outlet just pushing, just allowing people to believe that it's 20? Maybe they don't even know themselves. They probably don't. Nobody does journalism anymore. It's just, what's the narrative? I'm assuming that at this point, I have to assume maybe it's just the Prime Minister's office just hands out a fact sheet for everybody to read, and they just do. Because they want to keep the gravy train rolling. But isn't it grotesque? Don't you think it's grotesque? Isn't it awful? Just liars. I guarantee you, I bet you at most, I'd be surprised if it was 5% of Canadians that understood this, that it wasn't just simply a blanket 25% on Canadian cars. There's something wrong, right? It's stuff like this makes me feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone episode. Like, how can this be? How can this media that we all used to trust have become so corrupt, have just become just literally the Ministry of Truth from 1984? And you watch the Canadian news, and it's just wall to wall, 24/7. Either Mark Carney is great, or, well, he did this, but really it's not his fault, and actually he's still great. The whole thing is grotesque. I mean, I don't know, this feels like something important to know, right? Without the exemption even, it'd still only be about 7.5 to 10% tariff. I mean, look, that's not good, but that's not the apocalypse. Right? That's not the end of the Canadian auto industry. That's just a place that you're going to have to negotiate from. Like, isn't that important for people to know? Oh, actually, it's not the apocalypse. So just so you know, before you go and vote for a lunatic idiot globalist, you should know this is actually not what we're saying. It's not good, but it's not as scary, right? It's not the apocalypse. And when you consider that every other country has the same thing, actually it's worse for them because they don't have USMCA, like France doesn't have USMCA exempt parts. So we actually still have an advantage. I don't know. I just kind of feel like maybe the truth is important. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Am I losing my mind? A lot of investment heading into the States. I wonder why Donald Trump seems to like Mark Carney. I wonder what he thinks he can gain by having Mark Carney be Prime Minister of Canada and inflicting his insane business and industry destroying net zero gibberish. His net zero plans on the country. I wonder if Trump feels he has anything to gain by that. I'm just scrolling through, just for no reason, just scrolling through an enormous amount of capital investment of companies that are moving from other countries to the United States because it's better for them, no tariffs, and Trump is rolling out the red carpet for them. I wonder why Donald Trump would prefer Mark Carney. I wonder why. Yeah, just a lot of capital investment, a lot of companies moving and opening new business in the United States, huh? So strange, isn't it? I feel like I need a break after that. It's maddening, right? It's maddening. Like, how can it be real? That's what I asked myself. It all started. It all started in 2020. I've told you guys this before. It all started in 2020. I'd only been doing the channel for a few months, I think. And watching these reports of like Wuhan being like quarantined. It's like a city of 10 million people. And then watching the news, and I'm saying, oh yeah, there's no chance that it could come to the United States or Canada or Europe or anything. No, don't worry about it. No, nothing to worry about. And then I say, well, but there's, I checked, and there was like thousands of people coming across the board, like flying in from that area into North America every single day. And You got to remember, this is at the beginning. We didn't know anything about it yet, right? We knew nothing about it at that point. We just knew it was a scary thing where there was all these videos of people passing out on Chinese streets. But to me, it seemed obvious. Well, let's see. You've got a city there that's under quarantine. Obviously, something is happening. And there's people flying in from that region every day. And some of them are going to have it, whatever it is. And it's definitely going to be like there's no mechanism by which it wouldn't. Like if you wanted it to come here, that's what you do. You just fly infected people here and then let them walk around, right? That's what you do. And watching the news and then just all of them, Fauci and all of our experts, medical experts in Canada saying, oh yeah, it can't come here. No, there's nothing to worry about. No big deal. But that just that doesn't make sense. And I was telling my friends and family, like, this is like, there's no way that's not here, right? Like, it's apparently super catchy. So, like, there's just no way, right? And obviously I was proved right. But it just seems so obvious. There was no way it couldn't happen. Like, it was just such an obvious lie being told to the public. And nobody I knew they all thought I was nuts. But I kept saying to them, but how is it not going to happen exactly? Like, that's when I first felt like I was losing my mind and going insane, because it was just obvious that I was right. This was that meme of like the huge crowd, and then there's the one person saying, I'm right. That was me. I was making videos about it at the time. And I felt like I was kind of losing my mind, because, well, can I really be the only person who's not insane? It turned out I was. But ever since then, that broke my trust in the media. Like, it was shocking because, like everybody, I knew the media was biased, but I didn't understand they just flat out lie. Like, to that level, right? I knew they lied, but not to that level. To me, that was the most shocking, because it was just so basic, right? It's like saying, like, the sky's blue and they say, no, it's nighttime. It was that level of lie. Like, it's no way to disguise it, right? The point of view doesn't matter. It was just such a basic lie. And anyway, I've been feeling like I'm going insane ever since, because the media just keeps lying. All right. All right. You know what, you guys, I need to take a break for a minute. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think. Should I let the YouTube keep, well, we're an hour and 3. I'll let the YouTube keep going a little bit longer. All righty. Give me 2 minutes, you guys. I wouldn't do this if I didn't absolutely have to. I'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. In fact, let me give you something, an educational video to watch. There. Boating. All right. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. I hope nobody was talking to any Satanists while I was gone. Don't talk to them. They're bad people. They're woke. Anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. Super important. And then also like the stream. Big time. Big time. Big deal liking the stream. Very big deal. You get good karma when you do it. So go ahead and do that. What are you guys saying? Let's check out the chat quickly before we get back into it. Let's see. Lots of chat. Lots of chat. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says Canada should put Canada first. I know. Exactly. Idiot Sniff says the new Middle East, formerly known as Canada. Yes, we're turning into that. I think Montreal is turning into that particularly. Let's see. Idiot Sniff says we are already halfway to the third world. Well, the quality of life in Canada has gone down. GDP per capita is going down. We are rapidly certainly falling out of first world status. Maybe we are. I mean, is it when young people can't afford to a place to live anymore? Is that what you get? That's a major change. I mean, can't really state that strongly enough. Young people cannot afford to buy homes anymore in Canada. To buy a home to start their family, unless they've got major help from their parents. Almost all of them. I mean, that's a big difference, right? So Canada is now a country where that opportunity is gone. That's difference. That's different. Spambot, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Spambot says, I don't care what the rest of Canada does. Saskatchewan and Alberta should become states. Look, if Carney wins, I've been saying this, history moves slowly, and then very fast. Very fast. And people could be shocked at how fast it could happen. If there's even a sniff of it, I'm going to move to Alberta, buy property there. And then I'll because at that point, Canada's done anyway, right? But if Carney gets in, I just saw polling. It was like 47, 48% favored, like seceding from the Federation now. Could you imagine? Could you imagine after a couple of years of globalist Mark Carney's net zero bullshit? It's basically punishment. It'd just be punishing. He's shown you guys in the introduction of his book. He says that Alberta's going to get hit hardest by his policies. I mean, how could anybody think of voting for this guy? The reason is because they don't know anything about him, right? So I think Canada is actually a very low information voting country because all people get, for the most part, they get from CTV, Global, CBC News is just left wing. Everything is left wing biased at the very least. There's no Fox News. So nobody's getting, the vast majority of the country isn't getting the other side of the story on anything. And as a result, they're just very low information, and half of what they know is false. Yeah, they don't know anything about Carney, right? Like, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier who's going to vote for Carney. And I said, just by interest, have you seen the video where Mark Carney claims that he's talking in a pub and he claims that the United States gets almost all of their semiconductors from Canada, and a tough guy like him, like Carney, they might just not show up one of these days if they displease him. The U.S. displeases him, boy, because he's a tough guy. It's obviously one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard a politician say. I mean, I don't even think that Trudeau is capable of saying something that idiotic, because of course the United States does not get all of their semiconductors from Canada. It's, I believe, at 0.08%. I mean, this guy's supposed to be this genius economist. He knows how the world works. Not that well, apparently. He keeps telling us, I know how the world works. No, you don't. No, he doesn't. That's a mistake that, I mean, I think you could find lots of 12-year-olds who could correct him on that point. That's idiotic. Where was I going with that? I was going off on a rant. Yes, so Mark Carney states that he, in his book, that his policies will hurt Canada. Canadians don't know, and apparently just don't care to know as well. But anyway, oh yes, my friend. Yeah, so I asked him, have you seen that video with Mark Carney saying that like unbelievably idiotic thing to a crowd of people? And it's like, no, I don't know. Yeah, they don't see it. The media won't show it. If Pierre Poilievre had said the same thing, it would have started every news show would have started with that. The genius economist Mark Carney. Let's see. Putting carbon taxes on businesses and industry, it makes them more competitive, according to the genius. Much Joy says, Carnage Carney. That one's catching on. I think it was who was it? Who was it that was using that on the last stream a lot? I can't remember. Let's see. Much Joy says he gives me Jimmy Savile vibes. You're talking about Carney? Well, there are those pictures of him with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Is that her name? Ghislaine Maxwell? So, yeah. Jimmy Savile vibes. Rosie's investing. You're buying the dip, right? It's never a bad idea. The American economy is going to be roaring before long. Has to be. There's too much investment moving in. Let's see. Rosie said, I hit the like button and there are now tulips blooming in my yard. Well, that's the good karma that you got from liking the stream. Radio Shimmer says, hit the like button. The like button. I thought that was the good karma button. Well, we could just call it the good karma button. In fact, that's an excellent point. JDL says 1984 arrived late. Yep. But it's here. Much Joy says, we're in the bloody twilight zone. Have been there for some time now. For the last decade, I would say. Let's see. Spambot says, if you want to see manipulation, go compare the investments made by the USA Congress versus the S&P 500. Yeah. U.S. Congress are criminals in the stock market. It's just an open secret. It's not even a secret. It's just they're doing it and just nothing ever happens. Rosie says, was it the head of NPR that was recently quoted saying truth is a stumbling block or something like that? Yes, it was. And I believe we have that coming up, actually. Yeah, she's in fact, she was saying that at a TED Talk, but then there's her getting grilled in Congress. And I think that's the one that we've got. Izzy says, dirty, dirty smear merchants. It's all they are. Yep. Urinalists. Yep. Yep. Right. Correct. Let's see. Much Joy. Nothing is real. Nothing is as it seems. People are living in fantasy worlds of just manipulation and narrative. Rosie says, you're right, corruption. There's actually a Pelosi report and Congress report, so regular people can follow those investments. Sick. That corrupt. I know, it's amazing, right? Just in the open. Izzy says, yeah, there's a reason I'm watching a guy named Radio Baloney. Because I have been wrong, but I'm always telling what I see as the truth. I do not ever intentionally mislead anybody. Although not everybody's perfect. And I have, and when I do make a mistake, I do try in the next stream to correct that mistake. Izzy says, more informative than the legacy media. Well, just the one thing on the tariffs, just that. You will not get that in the media, in the legacy media. You won't. Even the politicians who would benefit from that won't tell you. It's amazing. Let's see. Izzy says, Richie, we're not the ones that have lost our minds. No. And I don't think that I've lost my mind. I just wonder if I have. I mean, I'm put in that weird situation where I'm going, can it be true that, like, they're lying so blatantly? Like, am I wrong somewhere? Like, I question myself all the time. And that's why I research, like, to double check and just make sure. Yeah, this really is a whatever lie it is, and it's a new one every day. Yeah, they really are lying about that. Izzy says, oh, but go to Chinatown and hug people. That's right. That's what they were saying to do. Oh, my God. Do you remember when CNN told us it was like something out of a comic book that the Wuhan lab was where the Wuhan lab that studied coronaviruses from bats was where the virus came from? Again, that's the kind of stuff that makes you go, holy, like, what is happening? Like, am I just ready to go into a mental institution or something? As he says, have to say I like to see the target practice again. Not sure I have it figured out yet. Well, these are instructional videos. So there we go. So watch this and just watch very carefully and see what she does. And then maybe you'll get it eventually. Let's see. Spambot says Canada is below the entire G20 for per capita income. Yep. But elbows up, Team Canada. Canada should lose its G7 membership. Let's see. JDL says rent in Canada is a lot. I think it's the highest priced real estate in North America now. I think I just heard somebody say. It's crazy. British Columbia is, and Toronto is extremely high as well. I think those two are at least amongst the most expensive in North America. And that's totally artificial. That's from, it's from flooding the country with money and very, very low interest rates. And for a long time. And the biggest factor is mass immigration, flooding millions of people in a very short amount of time. Let's see. Okay, all right. So we're almost through the chat. G Flood says you're going sane in a crazy world. I think you're right. I think you nailed it there. Hey, I was sane once. Blunderworld says, whatever you do, don't listen to Radio Salami. Those dudes just talk about their wieners. Yeah, I don't find it compelling. Rosie says, amazing she can do that with frozen feet. I know. It's very impressive. Very impressive. All right, let's get back to it. We're already an hour and a half in. Holy jeez. All right. So I think what we're going to do right now is apologies to we've gone longer than we normally would go. So we always start out streaming on Rumble, YouTube, X, and locals. And we usually cut off the YouTube part about an hour in just because there's just they demonetize every stream anyway. So I don't even know why I bother, but it just makes it easier just to cut it short. And then we do the rest of the stream just on Rumble, X, and locals. So I would ask you, everybody who's on YouTube right now, you are loved. Know that you are loved. Know that you are important. Know that you are treasured by all of us here at the Radio Baloney gang. But we have to cut it short now. So we'd love it if you join us over on Rumble. There's always lots of people on Rumble, and the chat is always really busy. Pretty much all the chat you can see on the screen is all Rumble chat. So join us over there. The water's great. People are friendly. You'll make new friends. It'll be wonderful. This is actually kind of a whole new start for your life. So we'll see you over there soon. But otherwise, goodbye, YouTube. Some people call it StalinTube or MouTube. Some people call it that. Anyway, see you soon. All together.